Chidorigawa Bookmakers presents The Dead of Winter, a Novelist's Kanazawa Afterlife by George Stenson. Chapter 5. Easing into the Snow Country. When I first came here, before you regale me with what will surely turn out to be a fascinating story, I need to know coffee and water, or just one, or just the other, or a completely separate desire altogether. As she spoke, Judy pulled a blue coffee cup from the dishwasher and poised it to release a water glass as well. Because, as you know, desires change as frequently as geisha or concubines change their undergarments and have their hair done up by expert hairdoers or whatever they're called. Right, Kafka? Right. The novelist had a no-run day. He wasn't sweating or out of breath, but decided on this slightly overcast day, with a gentle breeze sweeping in off the Sea of Japan, to stop at Marquez for a light lunch, a sandwich perhaps, and a cup of coffee. Maybe a pastry dessert of chocolate and fruit, no whipped cream. I'll have one of your vaguely veggie sandwiches, the one with no meat but plenty of cheese. He tapped his fingers along with Bud Powell's Dance of the Infidels. He couldn't believe the tenor sax player was only 18 when they recorded it. And wasn't that Max Roach on drums? Cheese? At these prices? I can barely afford to buy butter, let alone cheese, especially imported. Well, no cheese then. Why not? You just said, never mind what I said. What do you want? Veggie and cheese, right? Toasted? The novelist nodded. And to my original questions? Just coffee. Judy opened drawers, the refrigerator, bread baskets, and pulled out 2 knives. How's the novel coming along? Do you really want to know, or are you just asking out of politeness, or... He watched her scoop coffee into her maker. Boredom. Trouble with the females, right? I thought so. The novelist looked out the window at the trees, bushes, grass, and tourists flooding Kenrokuin. Marquez had a good location, close to the garden and museum with lots of pedestrians. A lot of people looked in at Marquez's blue and white walls. They looked interested in coming in. They hesitated, nudged each other, pointed at the menu, whispered behind a hand raised to their mouths. Some checked their wallets for cash, while others studied their phones for cashless cash. But for some reason, time, other places to check off their Instagram list, not thirsty or hungry, they didn't enter. How's business these days, Judy? Mine, she smiled, or yours? Kimi no. Her smile faded, as if a doctor pushed a sore point. Okay, she answered and turned away, pretending to rearrange cups that were perfectly arranged, I guess. Trouble with getting customers? You've got a lot of foot traffic. Oh no, that's not the problem at all. I get customers, a lot, sometimes too many. She looked at the empty tables and stools at the counter. The novelist was her only customer. Not at this time, however. What's the problem then? Judy studied the back of her hands as if checking for a skin disease or broken nails. Time, mostly. She looked at the novelist. I spend too much time here. She gazed around Marquez, preparing, buying, cleaning. She glanced at her cash register. It didn't have much cash in it. Most everyone was going virtual, electronic, cashless. No time to play or think or plan. You should hire an assistant. Assistants cost money. And you don't have enough? She nodded, then shook her head. I have enough for me. She looked out the window as a clique of tourists scampered by. Not enough for an assistant. She glanced at the empty space in front of the novelist. When you first came here, Kanazawa, I mean, not Marquez, what did you think? When I first came here, the bell over the door clattered to life. The novelist and Judy looked at the noise and who caused it. 3 high school students, already giggling, entered. Their uniforms announced they attended a high school near Kenrokuin, the 21st Century Art Museum, and Kanazawa Castle. Judy grew up in a very rural suburb and went to school in a small town.
She wondered what it would be like to live in a tourist-centered, sightseeing-rich town. You lived in Kyoto, didn't you? She asked the novelist. Briefly, very briefly. I'll be right back. She wandered over to the three women as they pointed at the menu. As Judy approached, they giggled, but ordered a frilly fruit and ice cream sundae, but requested 3 spoons. Judy expected it as the sundae was big, too big for one person concerned about their weight. Sharing was a way of life for impoverished high school students. Judy smiled at them and returned to the food prep area. Archaea seems to be popular with teenage girls. The novelist studied their way of sitting, as if they were wearing slacks or shorts, talking over each other, slapping each other's hands or arms, laughing. Women. Yes, your shop's popular with teenage women. And their mothers. Oh? Judy scooped ice cream into the big glass. She leaned close to the novelist, but looked at the woman on the right, with her back to the novelist and herself. She whispered, "Her mother died last year." "How do you know that?" the novelist whispered back. Kanazawa's a small town. Everyone knows a lot about everyone. 500,000 people, small town, interesting. Judy shrugged her shoulders and returned to her 3 customers with 1 sundae, 3 spoons, and the check. She placed everything on their table, said, "Have fun," and returned to the novelist. "Kafka, what was it like growing up in Kyoto with all those sightseeing places, tourists, geisha, and temples to see? Like a grand old party every day?" "I left Kyoto when I was 3. "Oh, so you don't know." "Nope. Where'd you grow up?" "You know the U.S.?" "Of course." "Do you know Nebraska?" "Yes." "More uncertain of yourself on that one, right? In Nebraska is a town called Lincoln. Do you know Lincoln? Isn't that the capital?" "Yes, sirree, you are correct." "You grew up in Lincoln?" "Nope. If you take I-80 straight west about 100 miles, and I do mean straight, I mean ruler straight, you'll run into Grand Island, which is neither grand nor an island, seeing how it's in the middle of the continent the U.S. squats on, and is surrounded not by a watery ocean, but by a growing ocean of corn and soybeans. Some soybeans. I mean, Nebraska is the largest grower of soybeans in the entire continent of the U.S., I'm guessing. You grew up in Grand Island? Nope, wrong again. I grew up near Grand Island, not even in the not grandest not island in Nebraska, on a corn farm with my parents. Your father was a corn farmer? You're quite astute, aren't you, Kafka? But no, he wasn't a farmer. He was a company employee, as we say here in Japan. He was employed by Kikoman to buy soybeans cheap and ship them to a processing plant to process them into the delicious soy sauce we enjoy with everything but rice. For 4 years. The best 4 years of my mother's life, according to my mother. You were born in Nebraska? Nope, I was born in Yubari. Isn't that town mostly dead? Not mostly. Dad got transferred to Grand Island for 4 years. 4. She displayed the 4 fingers on her left hand for emphasis, where I learned the English and a smattering of the Spanish, but no the kanji. But you speak Japanese now. Kanji is not part of speaking. Did you know that, Kafka? But yeah, I read and write the language of this island nation. Isn't that grand? Yeah. About the veggie and cheese sandwich? Judy stared at him. You're still hungry? I haven't eaten anything yet, and that, he pointed at the coffee maker, is full of beans that you haven't switched into my coffee yet. He smiled at her. So, she said, as she restarted making the novelist's sandwich with cheese and pushing the button to make his coffee, tell me about when you first came here.